Welcome to the OMG Tarot Podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay, aka OMG Tarot. I'd like to tell you a little bit more about myself. As you can probably tell from my accent, I'm an American. And if you're really good with US English speaker accents, you've probably pegged me as being from the East Coast. If you did, you would be correct. Now let's talk about today's topic, the star. If you'd like to follow along with this breakdown symbol by symbol, take a moment to find the star in your deck. Also note that I'm going to be referencing the Rider-Waite version of this card. So if you're working with another deck, like say the Pasta Tarot or the Cat Tarot or really anything, you might have some variation between your card and the version that I'm referencing. However, there's probably going to be some similarities because the themes of the star card, and really every other tarot card, are present across decks. The star is number 17 in the Major Arcana. In it, we see a nude woman with long blonde hair, and she's kneeling with one foot on the water and one foot on the ground. Notice how I said the foot is on the water, not in the water. That's going to be important later when we pull apart all the different symbols present in this card. We also see one large yellow star above her head, and it's surrounded by 7 smaller white stars. Looking into the card's background, we have a tree with a bird perched atop the tree. We also, over on the other side, have a mountain range that's far in the distance. And then, notably, let's take a look at what our figure's doing. She's leaned over with her eyes cast down into the pool of water into which she's pouring more water from one of her decanters. She's actually got 2 decanters, one in each hand, and both are pouring water out. One right into this big pond, and the other into a small collection of streams that seem to be going in a variety of directions. So let's actually take a look at those 2 decanters first, because I think that these guys are really kind of our most important symbol here. The star is associated with the zodiac sign Aquarius, and if you're familiar with astrology, you know that Aquarius is known as the water bearer. And take a look at these decanters. That's literally what the star is doing right here. She's got the water, and she's pouring it out. She's here bearing the water. But what is she really doing symbolically? We see her holding the jugs, and out comes the water flowing into this bigger, larger pool, whether you're looking over on the one side where she's got the large pool, or the other side where she's got the streams that seem to flow into that pool. Well, she's giving back to humanity. She's literally pouring this water out to support and provide for the collective whole. Now let's take a look at that tree that's over in the background, and specifically the bird that's hanging out on top of the tree. That's not just any bird, that's an ibis. The ibis is often used as a symbol of wisdom. They're smart and they're adaptable. Ibises have these long beaks, and they're able to really kind of stick those beaks down into the mud, whether the mud is all dried out or it's all full of water, and root around and find what they need to find to survive. So bringing it back to the star, and having that star's energy of let's give back to humanity and let's survive and let's really push outside the box and rethink things and reorder things, the ibis is up there in the corner as a reminder of adapt. Find a new strategy, think outside the box, do what you need to do to achieve what you're trying to achieve here. Moving up to take a look at all the stars above our figure, let's first focus on that big yellow star that's hanging right above her. If you want to take it literally, this is the star. We're looking at the star card. Or if you want to take it a little more figuratively, you could read that as her guiding star. Maybe it's the principles that she follows as she allows this water to flow back into the collective whole. But then let's take a look at those smaller stars all around her. These stars are symbolic of the Pleiades, a collection of 7 stars. They're also known as the 7 sisters, and in Greek mythology, they were the 7 daughters of the Titan Atlas, who Zeus turned into stars and put up in the sky to protect them from Orion. So what does that have to do with the star? Well, think about the symbolism of these 7 sisters all together. There's that sisterhood, that congeniality and closeness between them, and that's really a big part of what the star is all about. It's about acting on behalf of the collective good. It's look down to how the figure is pouring the water out into that bigger pond there. She's giving back to humanity. She's adding back all of these emotions and all this intuition back into the big collective here. And she's doing it with wisdom. That's what our ibis is showing, that adaptability, that how do we find a way to make it work. And this really ties into the zodiac associations with this card, because remember, like I said earlier, this is the card associated with the sign Aquarius. And despite the first portion of Aquarius's name, it's actually an air sign. So, just like Libra, like we discussed in the previous episode, Aquarius is driven by intellect and by logic and by knowledge. They're straightforward. They're not really super duper feelers here, but kind of the thinkers of the zodiac. And I want to draw your attention down to that foot that's sitting on the water rather than in it, because I think that this is going to be what really makes that make sense to you. In tarot, water is emotions. And when you see a figure dipping themselves into the water, that typically symbolizes that they're really deep in their feels or deep in the emotional undercurrent of things. But we've got our figure here who is really not in that water. She sees it, she recognizes it, and I think on some intellectual level, she knows how important it is. But she's also operating outside of it. And I think, to pull out some zodiac stereotypes, Aquarius is a robot. I'm allowed to say that because I'm an Aquarius sun, but I get it. If you have an Aquarius friend and they're oddly stoic, no matter what's happening around them, yeah, they're not the biggest feelers. They're ruled by Saturn and Uranus, which we'll maybe talk about in a future podcast. But anyway, that's why I think that she's got her foot right here resting upon the water, and it's really showing how, while her intentions are to help humanity and to provide and to really kind of lean on that intellectual acuity to adapt and change and think outside the box, she also kind of sees herself as kind of outside the collective here, almost like she's playing this supporting role, like, hey, I'll boost you all up, but I'm not in there with you. I'm not one of you. If that sounds detached, well, it is. That's Saturn for you. But I don't think that in any way contradicts the hope and the passion to drive forward present in this card. The star shows up authentically, hence why she's not wearing any clothing. It's all here, this is all her. And she's here to find a realistic, sustainable solution that will actually just lead to things being a whole lot better for the collective. Because after all, let's drop her into the Fool's Journey. This is card 17, which means it comes right after card 16, the Tower. And the Tower is a hard reset. Take a look at it. We got people falling out of a tower, we've got flames and lightning, and we got the crown tumbling down. That's a pretty big shakeup. That's a revolution. Everything is crumbling down and you're brought back to square one where you have to rebuild again. So who picks up the slack and rebuilds? The star. The star is your first responder. The star is the one who's showing up here with her pickaxe and her masonry equipment, like, all right, well, our foundation's cracked. Let's build a better foundation. Okay, we no longer have walls because they all came down in that tower moment. Let's start framing this up. Let's start building ourselves a new tower, and maybe this time around we'll build a better tower, one that actually provides all the amenities that we need and actually fits who we are today and what we need right now. In fact, maybe she needs that emotional detachment to be able to do this work and do it well. Just picture instead our star figure if she was in that water and you only saw her from her waist up. She might be too close to the situation to really have the clear head to logically see, all right, what do we need to measure and cut, and how should we order this tower renovation process as we're pouring the concrete for the foundation and building the frame. And let's not forget who she comes before. Up next, number 18, we've got the Moon, and that's a very introspective card. That's a card of, oh, I need to really look inside, and I need to really examine what I believe and what I hope for and what I'm doing. It's a card that really forces you to face your shadow self head on and do that difficult work, do that looking inward. So how does that factor into coming right after the star? Well, I'd read it as the star set up the framework for you to be able to do that introspective work. That first we needed that very Saturnian, Aquarian, level-headed, all right, here's kind of how I'm going to make things better for society and really take responsibility here and find some innovation and adaptations. And then now that I've kind of done my duty, now I can really examine myself and who am I and how do I fit into this thing? So, when you pull the star in a tarot reading, what does it mean? In a vacuum, it refers to all the things that we just talked about. Things like looking forward to the future and really thinking outside the box for innovative solutions that you can use to make your own life better and to help make other people's lives better. Just really kind of like applying technology and strategy to really usher in progress. But how you apply that really depends on a few factors, including what question, if any, did you ask the cards before you pulled the star out? And also, what other cards did you pull out with the star? Again, if you pulled other cards versus doing a single card pull. So let's throw out a couple examples. Alright, so let's say you wanted to ask your tarot cards, what kind of gift should I get my mom for her birthday? So we shuffle, 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 and oh, there's the star! How can we apply the star's principles to a tangible gift for mom? Well, let's look at what the star is all about. The star is connection with others and innovation. So, you could take it really literally. Hey, maybe mom wants a new smartphone. Or maybe the best gift for mom is you finding a way to make her quality of life better, whether that's through technology, like you installing new Ring doorbell cameras, or through another way, like maybe it's time for you and mom to sit down and do some genealogy research together, or really just something that contributes to the well-being of the whole. Maybe you and mom can undertake some kind of new project together. Let's try another example. You've decided you're going back to school, but you're not totally sure what to major in. So you ask your tarot cards. We shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. What comes out? Oh! Oh hey, it's the star. In isolation, I might read this as sociology, or something else that really has you kind of working to benefit people in a big, broad, group-centered kind of way. But a lot of times we don't just pull single tarot cards, so let's take a look at what if we ask the same question and we pulled the star and something else. For example, let's say we've got the star and the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups, and in future episodes we're going to talk a lot more about minor arcana cards, but the Six of Cups, it's that one where we've got the two children, one is handing the other the large cup with some white flowers in it. That card has a lot to do with emotional balance and kind of looking backward, and sometimes there's an element there of kind of righting past wrongs. So with the star and the Six of Cups together, I might read that as early childhood education, or perhaps sociology with a focus on working with children and families. A lot of kind of that maintaining and guiding that, the kids in the future. Or let's try another one. Hey, tarot cards, what should I major in? Oh, there's the star, and there's the Two of Swords. So with our star, we still have that idea of progress and moving forward and finding new strategies. But then over here, we've got our Two of Swords, which I often read as trust the process and let logic lead the way. Because we've got, and again, this is in the Rider-Waite version, we've got this seated figure with 2 feet firmly planted on the ground and a blindfold over their eyes, holding 2 swords out in front of them, while all the water and the moon and all sorts of more ambiguous things are behind them. I might read this as be an early adopter of a new program. If there's some kind of innovative program at your university, like maybe some kind of dual enrollment or maybe something that really harnesses technology, something that basically it's really not tested yet and there really aren't alumni in that program, you would be among the first ones, but you can trust that it's built on a solid foundation and that you're going to be the trailblazer here. You're going to be one of the ones who really sets the tone for this area of study, at least at your university. So no matter what, when you pull the star, remember that the message is embrace what's new. Embrace what might not have been available to you previously, whether that's due to technological advancements or just your own understanding. Lean on what you've learned recently, lean on progress, because ultimately, This is a very progressive card. It's a card of ushering in the next era, and using your brain to do it. Whenever you see the star, progress is underway. It might not be easy, but it's progress, and it's underway. So that's it for our discussion on the star today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. And if you really enjoyed it, I'd appreciate it if you gave me a good rating over on Spotify. It really helps. Up next time, we're going to be talking about the lovers. And here's why. Last time we did justice because that was relevant to what was going on in my life. This time we did the star because someone requested it. Let's just finish this air sign trifecta and go with the lovers, the sign associated with Gemini. But until that episode drops, you can keep up with me on Instagram. My handle is its_OMG_tarot. Or you can get me on TikTok, where my handle is OMG_tarot. You can also visit my website and read my blog at omgtarot.com. Alrighty, catch you next time.